Hi, welcome to the Rittner Floral School in Boston, Mass. I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and it's a pleasure to welcome you into one of our classrooms today. The time of the year, fall. The theme of this video, great floral designs of fall, and I think you're going to really enjoy it. Our staff here at Rittner's has been working very hard to prepare these things for you, and I think that you're going to really enjoy this particular presentation. So let's start off, the great arrangements of fall, the great floral designs of fall. And we have one that's a very neat one to start with. Notice the container. It's a ceramic container, it's blue, it's got a kind of a contemporary feel with some nice lines built into it. You normally wouldn't associate blue as a container that we'd be using in a fall motif, but why not? And notice how it contrasts very nicely with the materials used. We've got some bittersweet here, flowing along here to provide some line to our design, and it gives a very sleek effect to it. And then some of the pod hydrangeas, the sea pod hydrangeas here and here, a very neat flower that comes in and looks great when it's natural, and then as it dries very well. And then notice the use of the carnations. Carnations we normally associate as a very traditional kind of flower, and yet they're being used in a very non-traditional way here. Basing technique, whereby we take the flowers and put them very close to the base of the design, thereby covering our mechanics is being used. And so we're using something that you would normally consider to be traditional in a very non-conventional manner. Additional botanicals in this particular design include some of our yellow gerbera and some of our white phlox. It is truly an amazing design. It makes very good use of positive space and also negative space to give a very sleek contemporary offering for the fall season. I think, my viewer, that this is a very neat one, and that you can learn a lot and enjoy this particular one in applying some of the things that you're seeing here. Okay, let's move on, because we have some other neat designs planned that I think you're going to enjoy on this one. Here, let's move this and move another one in. We have another interesting container here. This particular one is kind of an Art Deco container. It's actually shaped in the form of a V coming right here and here. And again, notice a very interesting use of all kinds of materials. We have some amazing botanicals that we're using in this particular video, and I have to tell you, many of these botanicals that we've got here are courtesy of the great folks of Blooming of Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin. These folks produce some amazing things, and they also are bringing in some very cool products from Israel as well. Between what they are producing in Wisconsin and what they're bringing in from some of the Israeli farms, we've got some very neat things to play with. We also have here in this design a nice combination of materials. First of all, you'll notice, again, in terms of line, you've got some branchy type material. These are winterberries. Normally when we think of winterberries or ilex, we think of it in red, but these are actually orange winterberries. I think that they are truly amazing. And in working them here and working them here and shooting them out here, you got a very interesting sense of line. And yet, it gives a very kind of open, airy kind of an effect. Now, there's another kind of branchy material used in this arrangement as well. If you look over on the right side, these are really cool. This is a fantail willow, and it's really neat stuff. It twists, it turns, it's got width to it, it's got dimension. You can do some very cool things. Working in towards as a focal area, we've got, of course, our hydrangea. The hydrangea is a perennial favorite. Everybody loves hydrangea these days, and we can use it in vase arrangements as well as in our bouquet work and come up with some very neat things. And then to give some contrast to the hydrangea, again, we've got more of our orange materials around it, some orange carnations. This foliage, it's a foliage and it's also a berry. This is red aronia, and it's red aronia with the foliage intact. It is absolutely amazing. This stuff makes your designs literally pop out, and it looks great. And the combination of the berries and the foliage is truly cool. And we've got some of this here, some here, some here, some here. And of course, you never can go wrong with your roses. And we have here, of course, a couple of our orange roses. The overall effect is mostly orange, a contrast of a light kind of greenish blue on the bottom as far as the base is concerned, and then of course a very strong contrast with the hydrangea. Definitely feels fall, and yet does it in a very, very non-conventional way. And the combination of the materials that are brought in both from blooming of Beloit in Beloit, Wisconsin, and then some of our more conventional materials, our hydrangea, our carnations, our roses. These have been made available to us courtesy of the folks of Riccardi in the Boston Flower Exchange, and they really give an amazing, amazing effect. Really, really cool. Okay, let's see what other interesting things we have. Well, we're gradually getting a little bit larger. This design is not a teeny tiny design, as you can see, my viewer, but if you think this one is large, wait till you see the next one, because our next arrangement for fall is also fairly good size, and I think very, very impressive. And here we go. Wow. Let's look at this one. When I say the great arrangements of fall, we mean just that. You see, arrangements can take many different sizes and many different shapes and many different forms. And this one is very, very cool. Now, we're using a wide variety of things in this design as well. If we examine it carefully, we see things ranging, first of all, in terms of, still we're using the red aronia berries and foliage here, and down here, and over here, and here, and here. It permeates the thing. It is absolutely amazing. Using, again, the concept of our hydrangea as a focal point in our design, and our hydrangea is surrounded by some other very, very neat things. We have some lilies here. We have some of our Fujis, and the Fujis that we have in this design are absolutely incredible. Look, let me show you close up. Look at this. Isn't this an amazing variety? This is a Fuji that happens to have some bronze in it and also some yellow. It is absolutely incredible. Look at that. That is really, really cool. I always like Fujis, but these particular kinds are really, truly amazing. And then we've got them mixed with some of our snapdragon over here, and then some of our phlox here, 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 throughout the design, the Israeli phlox, and then some of the gerbera. And the gerbera are also kind of a bicolor with both a little orange and yellow worked into it. It is truly an amazing design. Some of our hydrangea, the seed pod hydrangea coming up here. The container on this particular unit is a resin container, and it's got this just amazing yellow and brown and orange, which works so well at this particular time of year. This kind of design is massive. It is a big piece, and this could be used very effectively in an entry area, in a bay window. I could see this one working on certain mantles. It is big, it is impressive, it's showy, and quite nice. It is a beautiful design, and it reflects so well the combinations of materials that we can play with in terms of our fall designing. We have one more design we'd like to share with you, my viewer, and give me a second to move this one and get the next one in place, and also a larger design, and I think one that works so well as far as examining the great floral designs of fall. Isn't this one amazing? Isn't it great? It is absolutely incredible. Now, let's examine this and see what we've got here. We've got a container here that is more of a neutral container. It's a black container, ceramic. It works very, very nicely. But notice the combination of materials. Once again, in coming up with the great arrangements of fall, we've got some great materials to play with. And I have to say that between the materials that we have from the Boston Flower Exchange and some of these wonderful materials from Blooming of Beloit, we have a very, very neat combination here. First of all, if we look, the first thing that comes to mind in this design is just the proliferation of berries, ornamental berries. These things work so well. Again, we've got winter berries here in orange, here, coming over here, coming out over here, over here. Amazing. But when we're talking about fall, we're not limited to oranges. We can also play with reds, red oranges, orange yellows, anything in that analogous range. And we have some red rose hips here. Aren't these beautiful? We're using them massively here, 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 here to create a very, very neat effect. So you notice that the first thing that comes to mind on looking at this design is the strong use of buried materials. And then in contrast with that, we have some other neat things. We've got some of the fantail willow here and here. Notice how that contributes to the shape of the design and also really adds character to the piece. We have some other linear materials in the design. Our Bells of Ireland working here and there. An amazing material in its own right, and it works so well in this context. And the green just works so well with the fall colors. And then we have some more of these amazing Fujis here and here and here in towards the center. A cluster of several of our Gerbera right here. And then our phlox here, 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 coming around here and here. We have a few of our snapdragon also in this design. One over here, one over around on this side here. So you can see the snapdragon. If you analyze this, you see a lot of different things, and yet they work so well together. And then this is an amazing foliage. This is Gravilla foliage. It is absolutely great. Again, one of the things brought in by blooming the Beloit. It is absolutely incredible, and it gives a lot of character to our design. Well, what do you think? The great arrangements of fall. Aren't these amazing? They really add character. They can add so much in terms of atmosphere for your home or for your office. They are truly, truly great designs, and they do so well. Oh, and on this one, I didn't mention, of course, our red aronia berries as well worked in. They are truly amazing. My viewer, it's been a pleasure to invite you into our school today. This video came about through the efforts of many people and many companies. Again, our staff has been working hard to provide the talent to show you these designs. The folks at Blooming and Beloit have brought in some amazing materials for us to play with. We want to thank the folks at Riccardi Wholesaler and also at Quinlan Wholesaler that helped in terms of transporting some of these things in to us. These guys are great, and they really went out of their way for us. Again, our viewer, we thank you for coming in and visiting with us. It was a pleasure having you come in and visit in one of our classrooms today. On behalf of all of us here at Rittner's Floral School, I'm Dr. Steve Rittner, and we thank you for coming in and visiting with us today for the great arrangements of fall.